Hello there, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Oluwayomi Ute, and it's such a joy to have you join me this very beautiful morning. Thank God always for the gift of life, and I thank God every day for the gift of you. Without you, there will have been no Knocks to Nuggets, and I don't take it for granted at all. Thank you so much for always joining me and giving me a share of your time. Now, for those that watch after now, I say a big thank you as well to you. And like we always ask, please like the video, share it, let somebody out there know that there is something called Knocks to Nuggets. So last week we had this interesting one on when is it okay to quit? And somebody said to me, quit what? But we found that it's about quitting the marriage. And the statistics actually are sobering. The number of people that have gone in very happily saying, I do. And in a few months, years, the story is changing. And somebody asked the question, how do we reduce these statistics? How do we put a stop to this? How can we just reduce it? And I have back in the house with me today a lawyer by training and a relationship coach by occupation. She helps those whose marriages are in turbulence to navigate the waters to reconciliation or separation. She's a family systems engineer doing awesome work, particularly as a divorce coach. Back with me in the studio today, and ladies and gentlemen, please receive with me Sisilawyer. Hey, thank you so much, ma, for being here again today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ma, last week, thank you so much. Last week was something else. You opened our eyes to so much about the issue of divorce. But something you said about twice or thrice kept saying, but you see the red flags. But yes, the red flags are there. So today, as you said just before I do, what are the things we should look out for before we say I do? The aim at the end of the day is to give ourselves tips to reducing the number of divorce cases that we have today in our courts. So before I say I do, what are the things I should be looking out for?
Red flags. Red flags. So what are the red flags?
Yes.
I suppose that would be your next question. What are red flags?
Yes, ma'am.
Red flags are behaviors that you say, well, he will change. Red flags are behaviors that make you say, well, it was my fault. I made him do it. So it is an unlimited list. Red flags are things that make you make excuse for his behavior, or vice versa for her behavior. So for instance, if you have somebody who is a constant liar and people find out that they are liars, and you constantly make excuse that no, it's because it is something that will show up in the marriage later, because character doesn't change. Or rather, let me say that it takes a lot of work to change character.
True.
So a red flag, as I've said, is something that you need at this point, that is before you say I do, to make excuse. I'll give an example. Well, I would say an aunt of mine. She was getting married, and on the day of the engagement, that is what we call the engagement, is really the traditional marriage.
Yeah.
On the day of the traditional marriage, the guy finished 2 bottles of Egovin. It's not a drink that is very common these days.
Yeah.
But it's an alcoholic drink during his own marriage. And I remember my mother telling her that, are you sure you want to continue with this relationship? Because you are getting married to a drunkard. And she said, "Oh, it's just his way of being entertaining, being free, being, why can't he be free without alcohol?"
Hmm.
And yes, she ended up with a drunkard husband, and he beat her well.
Hmm.
So that's why I say a red flag is something that makes you give excuse for the person's behavior. I was just thinking this morning, I want to write a bit of a skit about money. And the average person will say, "I'm not marrying him for his money." And that's a good thing to say. But when you go out, you go out to eat, for instance, is the one who says he's taking you on a date. And he says, "Help me pay. I left my card at home." Or he has the attitude, we're enjoying this meal together, now you pay. It might be a joke. It might be
Hmm.
seen as being being frivolous, nicely light-hearted, but it may not be light-hearted.
Hmm.
By the time any friend is doing that to you 2 3 times, then it means that they have money issues.
Hmm.
That is a red flag of money.
Hmm.
When a man says to you, "You can't meet my mother yet," maybe when next she comes, and you have been dating him for 3 years, he's never going to commit. That's a red flag. And if you then say, as it has happened in some cases, you then decide, what, let me get pregnant so that I force his hand.
Hmm.
You're asking for trouble. So
Hmm.
a red flag is something that it gives us. We make excuses for somebody's behavior.
Hmm.
A red flag is something that sometimes also another way a red flag can manifest is when they try to hold you from socializing with other people, so that
Hmm.
you will not, so that they feel, um maybe they don't feel confident in themselves, and they
Hmm.
feel to themselves that, well, if she or if he socializes with other people, then um I will not have control.
Hmm.
So a desire to have control, a desire to say, "Don't socialize with other people, I want you for myself." When a person says, "I love you very much, I love you for myself, I don't want you to socialize with other people," it is a red flag.
Hmm.
Not love. It is a red flag. In fact, it is what they call love bombing. When a person shows so much love, so much love, so much love, it gets to a point where it gets tired of the love, especially even when you are feeling constricted by the love. And one day he'll just come and just slam you with something that you do not want.
Hmm.
So that's
Hmm.
what a love bomb is. So we have to be very careful about love bombs even before we say "I do."
Hmm. Hmm. Man,
Everybody likes to be loved, but when the love
true.
is when the love has condition, that it is
Hmm.
only me and you, nobody else, then we've got to
Hmm.
be very careful.
You just answered my question. I was going to say, but everybody wants to be loved. You want the man that's jotting around you. You want the lady that's just always there for you. So love bomb is like this love is too much. It's becoming choking.
Love bomb is actually, they are loving you, is very choking, and then suddenly one day they just show you their real character.
Hmm.
And like
Wow.
before, like I said, you then start to make excuses for their behavior. So you keep on being love bombed.
I, Jesus is Lord. Wow. While you were talking, I was playing it in my head and I was thinking about it. Because we don't know everything at the same time. What if, like you were talking about the aunt of yours, at traditional marriage, many people will think, "I have crossed the no return point." Is there any time that you say you have gone too far, just go ahead and marry? Or can you still
No,
turn around at that
no,
time?
no. You can turn around at the altar.
Mm,
But you see, the mistake a lot of us make is that we think that the traditional marriage is just engagement. It's not. It's actually a full marriage.
Hmm.
So once you have the traditional marriage, you are actually married already. You are actually husband and wife. Even before you go to church and wear the white dress and all of that. Once you have done the traditional marriage, you are married.
Wow. So, ma, if I'm married and I'm turning around at that point, how then already married? That means I have to go through a divorce.
Yes.
Eh?
Yes.
So, if you have done the traditional marriage, in the eyes of the law, you are married.
You are married, yes.
So, if at that point you look and say, "This guy, I can't deal," that
So
means
before
you
I
have.
get so if you then you leave and you dissolve the traditional marriage.
Hmm. You live and you dissolve the traditional marriage. If
Yes.
you are out there and you are not yet married, these are things you need to pay attention to. And if you are already married, but you have a friend that is not married, you have a sibling that is not married, call their attention to this truth. Nobody needs to go through a divorce. We just need to do it right and lay the right foundation. Still on this red flags, man, sometimes you explain it so well that it's the things you make an excuse for in the person's character. And then what people say, but people change. After all, I would pray. He has promised me that when we get married, we won't do this again. Um, Even me, I'm not perfect. When I get married, I mean, even me, I'm not perfect. That things, the excuses we give. What's your opinion about those excuses?
That's what you call it, excuses. Now a person wants to marry either because he likes or she likes the other person. Either maybe the way they walk or the way they talk or the fact that he can provide or at least he appears to be able to provide, or because they're getting old and society is wondering what is wrong with this one that is not getting married. We all want to get married for various wrong reasons.
Hmm.
Last week I asked one question: must we marry? Did God say we must marry? Now we want to marry, and we all want to marry. Every one of us, I mean, me included, we've gone through a situation at times when we marry for the wrong reasons. Why should we marry in the first place?
Hmm.
When in my own church, part of the program says that it is so that we can bring up godly children. I sometimes when I hear that I smile, but and I have my reserve and I have my reasons when I smile when they read that. But we get married we get married to the person who is not the right person. I don't want to use the word wrong person. We get married to the person who is not the right person. Then we say they will change. We all do it. We all say it, and they don't change. And they don't change for various reasons. One, they have grown up with that behavior. A parent or their parents have validated that behavior as time went on. Even the Bible says, train a child the way he should go. When he's old, he will not depart from it. So they have been trained to be narcissists. They have been
Hmm.
trained to be abusers. We always think of that phrase in the positive, but rarely it could be in the negative. They've been trained to be thieves. And then you now say you that you are coming 20 years, 26 years, 30 years after they have been trained like that, you think you will change them? You will have an uphill task.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
It takes the grace of God and more for a person, a great desire for the person to decide that I want to change, and then to go into counseling. Because if the person is willing to accept that these are my faults, this is where I'm not getting it right, this is what makes me socially unacceptable to a lot of people, and that person then says, I want to get counseling, there might be hope.
Hmm. Hmm. There might be hope when the person comes to himself or herself and says, I want counseling. Now we've touched a topic that is becoming an issue quote and unquote counseling. Many people think, we, some of us, my generation, we grew up thinking whatever happens in the family is you and your husband, or you and your wife, you and your spouse. The third ear must not hear about it. Is that valid?
Both are valid.
Hmm. So where is the role of the counselor?
A counselor should not be a third ear.
Hmm.
The moment a counselor thinks that they are a third ear, they have lost that plot. Now
Wow.
it's like in mediation. Mediation, you should not be on any side.
Hmm.
You should just be there to help them to see perspectives. So when you are a mediator, you are not a part of the fight. You are not
Hmm.
taking any sides. It is confidential between you and them. Even what one tells you is confidential, you can't tell the other in mediation. So in the
Hmm.
same way, when we are counseling, it should be, if you are counseling the couple, you should be able to stay in the place. And that is why every counselor, every good counselor must have some grounding in mediation. I did a course in mediation and it has helped me very greatly in my counseling practice. There is no third ear in a family squabble. There should not be a third ear. So when they come to a counselor, you are a third person there, but you don't have ears. I don't know how else to put it. I'm sorry, but
Hmm.
you must be able to. First of all, you must be able to give them that confidence that it will die with you. The
Hmm.
information you get will die with you. You must be able to give them that confidence. You must also be able to see perspectives from every angle,
Hmm.
because it takes two to tango, and no person is 100% at fault in any problem.
Wow. No, but that's true. Nobody is 100% at fault. But I love the dimension you have brought into the issue of counseling. Like, counselor is not the third ear, it's that
Yes.
neutral party that can hear from both parties, help them see. That means a counselor is not an advisor.
No, a counselor should not. Well, if you are counseling a couple, you are not an advisor. Even
Hmm.
when you are counseling one person, you should not be an advisor. You should help them understand where the issues of their life are coming from and what they want to do about it. You see, a decision to change, a decision to save a marriage, a decision to go away is a personal decision.
Hmm.
Nobody, whether counselor, whether divorce coach, whether marriage therapist, whatever name you want to call it, can never tell another person it's time to go or you must not marry.
Hmm. I agree with you. But I'm wearing the cap of the mothers, the grandmothers that will tell you things like, I'm older than you. You met me in this world. I have seen things like this before. I know how it will end. And I'm telling you now, don't go. So they are telling you from their wealth of experience, and they are telling you they have seen this equation time and time again. One plus one is equal to two.
Yes.
How do you play in that space? So you're a grandmother. You
Yes.
don't want to advise, but you can see that, hey, this path, there is a ditch in front. What do you do?
It's a very difficult place to be. A month before I got married, maybe a month, maybe 5 weeks before I got married, my father called me and my father said to me, "Are you sure that you want to
Hmm.
marry this guy?" I didn't understand the question because I was all rose tinted eyes, I was in love and all of that. And I asked my father, I said, "Why are you asking me that question?" And he said, "If you think there's anything that would stop you from being happy, or if you think there's anything in this guy that isn't going to work well with you, I will dabaru the whole thing and say something happened and say I can't give my daughter to them." I wish I had listened. I wish I had listened to him. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe if he had put it in another way, maybe I would have. Maybe not. I don't know. But you see, the place of parents or grandparents is that they see, sometimes they see, or sometimes they think they see what we don't see. Like I said, a parent who has taught somebody to be a liar will not see his child as a liar.
Hmm.
And even if he sees that sometimes he doesn't tell the truth, he just see it as a carefree thing, it doesn't matter, what we call white lies.
Hmm.
But when a parent is now going to speak to their child sincerely about issues that they see in that other person, which makes it maybe not wise to proceed with the marriage, sometimes it is the way that those people put it to their child that make their
Hmm.
child dig their heels in and then
Hmm.
I'm going ahead. Before mediation was formalized, before it became something that we had our own traditional ways of talking to our people. For instance, if you remember before, well, maybe before even I got married, or maybe after, short around that time, they would say, what kind of person is his family? What does his father do? What does his mother do? They will do what they call family research of that person. So it's
Yeah.
not only that person that will be put under the light,
In the
under the
focus.
searchlight, even the entire family. Because in our traditional societies, it was the entire family that was marrying another entire family. So my father would take that trouble, as it were, my mother, my grandmother, to find out, and they'll say, oh, his great grandfather was sent to prison, or his great grandfather stole somebody's yam. And that might just be the one reason why they will say, no, sorry, we are not part of it. And it worked. It worked in that time. And so but you see, today, we take it from a perspective of, I spent a lot of money on my child, so she must marry. I must have big marriage. You understand? I must have big marriage ceremony. They must say, oh, I spent a lot of money. Sonia Ade must call my name for the world to hear. And so a lot of parents close their eyes. And when they don't even close their eyes to it, they close their eyes to their own child's fault. They close their eyes to the man's fault, and they just say, let's just do it like that. Later he will change. We will have a meeting. And then the problems start. And then when the problems start, the same parents will either say, please leave and come back home. Or they will say, I stayed there, you two will not stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens? Generation after generation is built into toxic relationships. Children stay together. The children stay in the home of two people who do not like each other, people who are finished with each other, and all those children are learning is how to live in a toxic environment. And then you say that we have Yahoo boys. You say that we have street urchins. You say that we have children. I'm sorry, children who were not proud. Where is that foundation?
Ooh. Wow. 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 It's actually a sobering thought. It really just calmed me down and just made me very sober. And the things you have said are very valid. Honestly, it's better to just do it right, set the foundation right, and then you can build a house that stands tall, even in the midst of the storms of life. I'm about to let you go, but before I let you go, a final question from me. And thank you. Meanwhile, before I forget, I'm sorry. I was so excited about today's topic that I was just ready to go. Thank you so much for the ebook. Thank you so much. It's gone out to our guests, our listeners. A lot of them have acknowledged receipt. Thank you so, so much for the book. And if you're out there and you have not gotten it yet, still reach out to me. We are still in the season of giving, and you still get your copy of the book. Thank you so much, man. And when you get that book, it's not for your e-library. It's for you to read, to digest, and to use those information there as a tool to make the world a better place. That's all we are here for, making the world a better place. So finally, ma, one last question before I let you go. Is there a right person to marry?
Yes.
Mhm. So there is a right person to marry. You know, I asked that question because a lot of times we say everybody is the same. You have to make it up. That's how all marriages are. But you're hearing it loud and clear. There is a right way to marry, and you do not have to patch your marriage. And you do also have to die in that marriage. Thank you so much, ma. I've kept to my word today. Before I let you go, let me take from you your final words.
There is a right person to marry. And the only way you can know who the right person to marry is when you know who you are. So you need to do a personal audit of yourself. What makes me tick? What makes me unhappy? What kind of things can I tolerate? What kind of bad behavior can I tolerate? Because everybody has bad behavior. What makes me a less than desirable person? When you know the kind of person you are, then you know the kind of person you are. Then you are saying the kind of person who is the right man or the right woman is the kind of person who can tolerate me, and there is that person out there.
Hmm. Hmm. There is that person out there. A good place to land it. Thank you again so much, ma, for coming back to back into the studio. We have learned so much from you. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much.
And happy Easter in advance. We are entering the passion. We are in the Passion Week, so happy Easter. Enjoy the holidays coming.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me again and
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye. Wow. That was mouthful, but I promised that today we're going to stay within the time, and I'm happy that we did. Yes, I said the feedbacks, listen and pray. There is the role of being discerning. There is still the right person to marry. Marriages still work. Marriage, it can still be blissful. You don't have to endure marriage. You can enjoy marriage. Trust me, I've experienced it. You truly can enjoy marriage. To everyone who has joined me today, thank you so much for giving me a share of your time. We are in the Passion Week, and Friday is Good Friday, and then we have Easter Monday coming. And so I want to encourage you, enjoy the moment, enjoy yourself, don't endure the moment. And in this holiday, if you have young children, use this time to bond, use this time to remember what we learned in December about family bonding, all those creative things we learned. It's time to remind ourselves of them. So you can hop onto the YouTube channel Knox to Nuggets and go look at those holiday ideas there. Make this holiday period fun for those children, and they'll be glad that you did. So you can do it, and I know you will do it. Thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of the week and have a fantastic holiday. But see you next week, same time, same station. And until I come your way, never forget it. If you can think it, you can be it, and you can have it. But before I sign out, a big shout out to Titi Oguntuga. Thank you for those books. And Sisilawyer, thank you for those books. We truly appreciate you've added value to us, and we are so grateful. And so till I come your way next week, never forget it. Together we win. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.